This is the WWE Smackdown June 6, 2025 full show results video which takes place at Dignity Health Arena in Bakersfield, California. Seth Rollins makes his entrance, flanked by Paul Heyman, Braun Breaker, and Bronson Reed. Rollins says he takes everything tomorrow now and he'll have absolutely power over this entire industry. And that control will extend to SmackDown, so they've come here to deliver the message that anyone here that stands in their way will suffer the same fate as those who have stood in their way previously. Sami Zayn, CM Punk, Roman Reigns, all of them gone, and Seth will drag all of us kicking and screaming into the future if he has to and nobody can stop him. Then comes Solo Sikoa, flanked by JC Matteo and a Samoan werewolf, Jacob Fatu, and Sikoa asks if he said nobody would be here to stop them, and Rollins again gives the affirmative. Solo says they're standing right here and by the looks of it, Seth has a little bloodline right here. He asks Braun Breaker if he's supposed to be the right-hand man Jey Uso and if Bronson Reed is the honorary is Sami Zayn. He gives Bronson guff for coming back and joining Seth after teaming with him at War Games, and tells Paul Heyman long time, no see. Solo says tomorrow he's gonna win Money in the Bank and then all that power and control will be his. Seth tells Jacob he looks like he has something to say and tries to cajole him into grabbing the mic and says maybe Samoan Werewolf isn't working and he needs a new nickname like say Solo's bitch. But in all seriousness it took Sikoa a lot of guts to come down here, and he'll be honest he's threatened by one of them, and it ain't Solo. Fatu steps up to Rollins, Breaker steps up to Jacob, Seth backs down and says something in Braun's ears and then he and his guys leave. After they clear the ring, Jey Uso arrives and lays Solo and his boys out with super kicks. The next match happened between JC Matteo versus Jey Uso, and the result of this match was Jey Uso won the match by pinfall with a schoolboy pin. Zelina Vega confronts Julia backstage to tell her that if she wants the title, she's gonna have to pry it from her lifeless body, then Julia tells her she likes her and she walks off. Then we saw a Bakersfield brawl between Piper Niven versus Zelina Vega, and the result of this match was Zelina Vega defeated Piper Niven by pinfall with a powerbomb through a table. Post-match, Julia raises a confused Zelina Vega's hand before dropping her with a headbutt and hitting a Northern Lights bomb. The Beautiful Madness grabs the United States Championship and holds it high above Vega's fallen body. Cody Rhodes meets up with Jey Uso backstage and they're quickly joined by Jey Uso. Everybody's asking Jey if he's okay and he's a little confused about it, but he's a champion and he's gonna be okay and the only thing to worry about is what John Cena and Logan Paul will have to say. Other than that, worry about tomorrow, yeet? Aleister Black cuts a promo in a room full of candles and talks about LA Knight stealing the pin from him, and the longer he thinks about it, the more he thinks that Knight has stolen something and it doesn't sit right with him, so now he wants to take away all of his security in a singles match. But if LA beats him, he will look him in the eyes, shake his hands, and admit defeat. Back from the commercial, LA Knight makes his entrance and gets on the mic and says it's that time of year again, Money in the Bank season, and if you think about it and do a little bit of math, it's his third year in a row of being in Money in the Bank, and the third time's the charm, but he's not satisfied with that because he looks at the other 5 guys. Money in the Bank is a big deal and he gets why Al got hurt by his stolen pin, but all he's done is set himself up to get his feelings hurt one more time. Then we saw a match between Aleister Black versus LA Knight, and the result of this match was LA Knight won the match by disqualification when Seth Rollins shows up and hits Black out on LA Knight. Post-match, Seth charges in for another but Aleister Black gets in his way. Rollins backs off but Braun Breaker slides in and spears Black. Seth throws him out of the ring and Bronson Reed appears to hit a senton on Knight and Breaker spears him too. We get a video of Adam Pearce and Nick Aldis making a joint announcement about King and Queen of the Ring, starting next week with 4-way qualifying matches feeding into semifinals and finals in Saudi Arabia at the end of the month, with the tournament winners getting title shots at SummerSlam. Jade Cargill is interviewed backstage and she says it feels great to have a chance in Queen of the Ring and she's gonna tear through it and win the whole deal and then taking gold at SummerSlam. Charlotte Flair rolls up to tell her Salt and Sugar look the same, so choose your friends wisely or don't have any friends at all, and as far as Queen of the Ring goes, there's only one queen in WWE. Chad Gable is interviewed backstage and says he's very confident about his match against El Hijo del Vikingo for the AAA Mega Championship at Worlds Collide and he knows El Grande Americano is gonna win the Money in the Bank ladder match, too. Andrade El Idolo rolls up and talks about Vikingo in Spanish and Gable just says asai a bunch until Penta rolls up and they have their own little conversation until Chad blows up and tells them Americano's gonna put them in their place. Bickering ensues and Nick Aldis appears to tell them they can settle it in the ring tonight. Tiffany Stratton makes her entrance and gets on the mic, and she says she's the girl of the moment and has been since she won Money in the Bank, so all the ladies in that match are gonna try to do the same, and they're all championship material, but it doesn't matter who wins because their worlds will be revolving around her. No one can outdo the doer, because it's Tiffy time. Then comes Rhea Ripley and she says she's never been in the Money in the Bank ladder match, but she's never had to, but she does know what it feels like to be a champion, and she misses the feeling. Then we saw a match between Alexa Bliss, Rhea Ripley, and Stephanie Vaquer versus Julia, Naomi, and Roxanne Perez, and the result of this match was Alexa Bliss, Rhea Ripley, and Stephanie Vaquer won the match by pinfall with Riptide from Ripley on Roxanne Perez. JC Matteo is backstage chatting with Solo Sikoa, worried about whether Jacob Fatu is loyal. Solo reassures himself that he brought Fatu in and he's not all that smart, all gas and no brains, and says he has it under control. They leave and Jacob Fatu walks around the corner, clearly having heard all of that. Back from the commercial, a Wyatts video breaks into the feed. Bo Dallas talks about how their loss has forged them into a family, unshaken by the storm, but again they wanted to forget about them and ignore their sacrifice. DIY are backstage with the tag division and they ask who provoked the Wyatts, but the Street Profits promote unity to deal with the Wyatts. Fraxium refused to forget about the tag titles and Axiom wants to teach the Wyatts a lesson. Motor City Machine Guns say they're gonna put their issues with DIY on the back burner and they're gonna bring the fight to the Wyatts. That leaves DIY alone with Nick Aldis, who thanks them for their input after they tell him to let one of the other teams deal with the Wyatts. The next match happened between Andrade El Idolo and Penta versus Creed Brothers, and the result of this match was Andrade El Idolo and Penta won the match by pinfall with a flip piledriver from Penta on Julius Creed. Post-match, Andrade puts Penta up on his shoulders and they celebrate. Then comes Seth Rollins and his pals and they lay Andrade and Penta out, both of them eating blackouts in turn, then Bronson hits Tsunami Splash on Penta. Back from the commercial, Seth Rollins and company are still in the ring, with Paul Heyman on the mic. Heyman does some cheap heat and says they don't fear the future because they are the future. Sit there and boo all you want, tomorrow night Seth Rollins becomes, once again, Mr. Money in the Bank. Then Cody Rhodes makes his entrance, and Rhodes squares up to Rollins, and then Jey Uso, sending us to break. Back from the commercial, Cody and Jey are alone in the ring and Rhodes asks the crowd what they want to talk about. He says he guesses he's trying too hard because John Cena called him desperate, which he found rather bold after John danced onto Kaisen at Stream All, how do you do, fellow kids, and teaming with Logan Paul like Michael P.S. Hayes standing next to the Hardy Boys, throwing away 20 years of goodwill for one last title reign. John Cena's music hits, and he comes to the ring, he gets his big introduction and Logan Paul appears out of nowhere. The heels get the better of the babyfaces. Attitude adjustment on Uso. Pulverizer on Rhodes, then John moves Cody into place, Logan goes up top and hits a frog splash. Cena drags Jey into position and he eats a frog splash too. Cena says he's going to take the WWE Championship home and then Logan is going to take the World Heavyweight Championship to the top, the last real champion and the moment maker, the inevitable future face of WWE. John stops himself short as he leaves the ring and throws Cody back in for one more attitude adjustment. Paul throws Uso in, Cena tells him to knock him out, and Logan blasts him with a vicious right hand. Cena calls the crowd hypocrites and pathetic liars. You want truth? He calls the crowd losers and tells them winners write the history books and doubles down on the future and last real champion thing, and the show goes off the air. How much you would rate this week's SmackDown show, tell me in the comments, and thanks for watching.